it over here, not because of the homework, but more because they realize that the economy for alternate Attax is low. And when Attax's economy is low, and generally teams on overpass, they have a low economy, they go for those small boosts that you can have to find an inch of an advantage. So anti-eco protocols, including the double nade there or really anywhere else, I'm always a big fan of that. I think it's just $600 to make sure that you can potentially do a lot of damage. If Attax doesn't have money, you know what? Try tracking over the nades. Maybe you get a kill in that case. At least you're 5 versus 4 with that money, you know?
Murbid, though, makes that 5 versus 4 come to life immediately. Spinks is picked up too. Stefan and Slacks. Now, I mean, when you have Deagles in your hands and you're up against AKs, when your nade stack didn't work out, no armor, I mean, what can you expect? Good advantage, though, from Tikitakan, who've put themselves in the lead for the first time now. Pretty cleanly, too, after the first 3 rounds that alternate Attax were able to pick up. Slacks finally on the AWP, and this is the big question mark for me. I'm not sure if Slacks can show up to the party with this AWP on the terrorist side.
Oh dear. Smoke comes out. Slacks is going to be allowed to go across, but they did wait a while before smoking the early spawn Molotov, so that could be a slight difference maker in timing, which makes him feel slightly insecure of taking peeks. Flames, however, is not insecure in the slightest. He has so confidently pushed out of the monster tunnels, and CTs have full idea of where these players are, but Murbit has already found the first. He should be expecting another, and he's got it done. Alternate Attax, 5 versus 3. The question is, do they decide correctly in which side to hit?
Yeah, Tikitakan, they have such a nice little setup going on towards toilets. Krunk gets caught out, and with 2 players on the A-bomb side, that's still pretty much covered because you don't need that many players on overpass. He's looking a little bit indecisive, though, as they start to make their way towards B. Murbit holding this close angle. He might win out the duel on Jur if he peeks out, but Jur is holding on to his horses. The audio information will be coming through very soon. The flashes of smoke start to roll out, and he has a big job to do off of this pillar. Maneuvers around it. He finds the first. He's spraying for the second, but the spray missing will mean that Cressy can come around the corner and slap him under the ear. Cressy now in the water. Ooh, alternate Attax just completely ripping them apart. 4-4. That was a really good round from alternate. I mean, even as soon as they lose that player towards A, immediately make the adjustment to go towards B.
More than anything else, I just really enjoy how Murbit is just posted away conveniently, because alternate Attax also recognize that Tikitakan will have to go for some gimmicky plays. No matter how much you've prepped a map, even if it's done in complete secrecy, even if you're scrimming it like nothing else, you are not prepared to go into an official with the full comfort levels that you would have otherwise, compared to something like a Mirage, compared to something like a Dustru, especially on overpass. So alternate Attax know that Tikitakan's playbook is not completely tested, and it should probably include a lot of things that maybe they're not ready for. So Murbit, because of that, when he's playing default to try and keep control over on short water, he's doing so defensively. Look at this from Red Star, however. Last time they molded him out of position. This time, it's not quite the same.
Early advantage secured. Tikitakan. They can now play quite passively. And the nature of A is that you can just have 2 players there to pretty much have all the information in the world. Because of the way the rotations work, you can quickly have your teammates rotate in, and the retake is still in a very doable spot. That being said, Tikitakan still aggressing forward with the AWP of Aben. Stefan, though, I'm not 100% sure if they're going to be walking into his crosshairs anytime soon, but Slacks is not being given the space just yet. And around the corner with that pixel peek, he gets the entry, but Red Star immediately responds. He's stuck in the toilets, missing the spray. Cressy is there to pick him up immediately. 3-on-3, Jur, solo defense on the bomb site, but his teammate should come through very soon. Jur goes down. There it is, Flames coming around the truck. He's picked up 2 very quickly, somehow bringing the advantage back, despite the fact that they had gotten pretty comfortable control of the ace side. But Slacks has fallen as well. 5-4.
So far, Tikitakan have been doing so incredibly well that I'm just surprised. If alternate Attax had not found themselves the 2 rounds base of the pistol, this would have been a completely different story. Flames, you can see over here, he's just isolating these duels, and to some extent that it does show some inexperience on Attax's side for this map as well. I mean, I'm not saying they are inexperienced, but maybe a little bit less so than perhaps we were getting ready for, considering it is their own map pick. You know, flashes aren't always blinding up all the players. They're not always having the utility they require. The process of getting map control in itself is sometimes leaving their spacing a little bit awkward. So there's a lot of things you need to keep an eye out for if you're Attax that will need to be fixed. So Black's finding a kill early on over here would be very big, though. Red Star gets aggressive and he is punished.
His aggression worked out before, but it doesn't work again. Aben, though, he gets a little bit aggressive of his own, but Stefan is there to pick him up. Both points of aggression not working out for the CTs. And Jur, he's picked up the first as he tries to defend the bomb site. Second player's audio cue comes through. Flashbang rolls out as well.
Oh, wow.
Nice little tap coming out from Stefan, and he's going for more. Around the truck area, he sprays away, but doesn't quite connect. 1-on-2 duel here. And unfortunately for him, his teammates are not there to back him up, even though that would have been a much easier duel that way. That being said, the bomb is now being planted.
2 versus 3. Flames is already down. Murbit with the deagle. Perfectly positioned, but not perfectly precise. He will be able to force Spinks back. Those Spinks, not enough HP, and he will run away to safety. Where did they drop the op? Oh, there it is. Okay, so he will be able to recover the op and back off. Auto attacks, I think they should hear footsteps of him. At least Cressy should, but hunting him down at this point when their own economy is in tatters is also not an easy ask. And Tikitakan, despite them having a very good showing, we also need to keep in mind that that 1 round in between where they lost all their players, along with the fact that they have been losing quite a few here and there, means that all in all, they're going to have a rough time closing out this half in their favor. You know, this will probably be a force buy over here. They'll have some scramble together weaponry, but should they lose this one Wild 80, I think alternate attacks could very feasibly get at least a 9-6.
Oh yeah, but I still really like the play that Tikitakan went for there. They had 2 points of aggression. Despite losing that first duel, they still had Aben posted up close because they want to immediately equalize the numbers. Which is something that I really like from Tikitakan because it shows that they still have confidence. It shows that they're willing to go for these ballsy peaks if it means that they're playing Counter-Strike the right way. I mean, they're capitalizing on the positional advantage of the CTs. The B push comes through though. Flames laying around the pillar, the smoke to help them out. Looks towards the wrong direction, and that will mean that 2 players will fall. The CTs now, despite their scrambled buy, unfortunately, and well, due in part because of their scrambled buy, they aren't able to hold on to the bomb site. Unfortunately for Flames, looking away at the wrong timing meant that his teammates would fall. He's still alive though.
This is really where you can see some of the inexperience coming in individually for these players. And maybe I'm overthinking this, maybe I'm looking too much into this, but the fact that Flames isn't feeling confident that no one will be pushing through his smoke, and the smoke that he himself has laid down, he has to look back into it, is a little bit worrying. Generally, you're hoping that players will be able to play around that smoke effectively, so even if they hear someone pushing through the smoke, firstly, they're probably not going to walk through it. Secondly, if they're running through, you expect the player himself to be able to duck into that smoke and try and play around the pillar, try and play around the smoke. Unfortunately, Flames, like you said, he looked away at the wrong time, and because of that, he ends up losing out what could have been an easy 2-man spray down. Even afterwards, he actually managed to get some damage in, but the farmers, being what it is, couldn't line them up and break that down.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, that smoke didn't work out too well.
All right, that's cool. Oh yeah, we saw this the other day as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Sure though, quick little boost towards onto Flames to try to get a little bit more information from Connector, but quickly pushing through. For a second there, I thought that a lot of damage could be done because they were not ready for it. They were getting ready for the boost, playing off of the railing, but immediately punishing the aggressing CTs. Again, a 3 versus 5 ensues so quickly. I mean, there's only a minute and 15 seconds on the clock. And they already have to face this. Aben, though, tries to make their lives just a little bit easier, but will make it harder instead. Red Star missing the spray down will be crucial. And like you said, the individual inexperience starting to show just a little bit now, because those are sprays. That's an op shot that you do not miss when you're playing at this level. I mean, sure, you might have that here and there, but we see some of the Tikitakan players dropping the ball across the board. And that's not to blame them. It happens sometimes, but how often
it's literally
is
the first time they're playing this map, in all fairness, from HLTV. So there is always that caveat which we can never get past. One thing to note, though, is the fact that Jer getting aggressive over there inside connector and trying to move through the connector doors is another example of slightly uncharacteristic mistakes from what would have been a better overpass team. So what you're expecting there is for the M4A4 to be in position to just take a few duels and hide away and cover. Red Star does exactly that as he takes down Stefan and backs up. There's 4 players on this B bomb site, 5 if you include the connector itself. Slash is going to find so many players coming in towards him. Does he expect this? He doesn't need to. He's just got the first 2 kills, and all those pings is there for the equalizer. Still a lot. Oh, Sphinx.
It happens sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you just have to press G, you throw away your weapon and walk over it. What else can you do?
Marbut's position is going to be huge. He's looking to flank the flank while the bomb's going to be planted in towards A, more likely than not. If the CTs want to go through connector backwards, Jur could be cut off.
Oh yeah, I think Murbit, having given no audio information whatsoever, if he decides to go out connector, this would be huge for him. Jur will not be checking that, and that is exactly what happens. Kill quickly comes into play. Caresi comes around and kills the player. And Heaven thinks, though, probably in a rock and a hard place as he has to worry about B site, and the Molotov is denied entry towards A. Bomb now goes down on A, and Spinks, best he can hope for is to save this AWP. Like you said, they've put themselves in a solid spot to potentially make it to 9-6, but I'm willing to say that even 10-5 is a doable proposition here.
I'm thinking I need to see that same aggression that's completely stopped in one. So when I say the aggression from Tikitakan has stopped, it seems like Tikitakan have got themselves a card of things they can do, and they're crossing them out one by one. So
oh yeah, I feel that too.
When they aggress through towards long, sure, they've done that once, but I've not seen that again. I've not seen them trying to get fountain control. When they aggress through Monster Tunnel, it doesn't really work out. Okay, I've crossed that off. Tikitakan seem to be slightly hesitant to go for the same thing again. And that's where I start to get a little bit worried. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, though. It's very difficult on a map like Overpass to be able to make these decisions as an in-game leader. But if that's what's going on, it sounds like you've scrimmed a lot, but you don't really know what to take out of those scrims and pop it into an official over here. Tikitakan, they've had a few moments where I think the play they're making is actually quite good, like when they're pushing through Monster Tunnels, like when they're pushing Interconnect in the previous round, but they're simply not able to work off of it afterwards if something goes wrong, or in some cases even when something goes right. So if they can change that, I think a 9-6 should be a very easy ask for them. And when I say easy ask, I mean not easy at all, but it's a 10-5 is definitely in the cards. I think you're right.
We'll look at alternate, though. They've already creeped up their way into B. I don't think the CTs will be expecting this, because short has been entirely abandoned, and most of their information was coming off of that. Murbit and Stefan, first points of contact as they move in. Aben, he's caught a little bit of information here, and with the Molotov, it will be confirmed that the T's are pushing through. 30 seconds on the clock, so the mowdown has to begin, and it will. 4 players falling for the CT side. That just leaves Jur. And I wanted to bring it back to your point about them crossing things off one by one. And sure, it sounds like a bit of a joke at first, but when you look at the way Tikitakan is going for these really good aggressive plays, but they have no signs of it being retroactive towards what alternate attacks are doing, or reactionary in any way, shape, or form, you can start to see that perhaps they don't really have a good idea of how to read this team, or how to make adjustments and choose their plays based off of that.
This is the match round for Tikitakan to turn everything around, though. This is the round where we figure out what exactly they can do. I personally need the op to get aggressive towards Fountain. I don't care what's going on. I need them to take Fountain control. Auto Attax is getting so much ground consistently early on to the point where Tikitakan cannot go for early rotations in the way they'd like to. They're going for aggression mid-round, which is what you use to get that information. But on a map like Overpass, mid-round aggression can sometimes be too late. So you can see already, I like this from Tikitakan. They've got a couple of players aggressively postured. Red Star's taking a peek down mid, but they haven't tried to take full Fountain control. And now it all comes down to Jer and what kind of information he can find. And very often, he's not really been able to find anything without going down, which is always troubling.
The troubling point for me is going to be Aben, because every time he's had his hands on the AWP, he's pushed through, he's gotten aggressive, and early on in the game, I thought, okay, wow, this is starting to work for him because he got 2 very quick kills. But after that, he's not really shown up to the scoreboard anymore. Lots of damage already done on Flames, though. Jer trying to hold the lines towards Connector, but Skrunk is there with a quick tap to the head. Or rather, a gruesome spray to the head. Aben now, as soon as I mentioned the thoughts of him sleeping, immediately picks up the pace, gets a kill from Toilets. The equalizer is there. But with Flames being so low on HP, that will always be a question mark. Aben gets caught in between 2 angles. Stephen picks that up. Red Star has been handed over the AWP because Aben really hasn't found his calling in it just yet, or at least his footing in this game. Spinks, though, great positioning, playing off of the door. He gets spammed, though. That's a little unfortunate. Flames, though, big job on his hands because 3 HP is all he has. Red Star trying to aggress through. But there's a lineup, and I said that it would be a problem for him to be on 3 HP. He still pulls through, and there it is.
Somehow or the other, they are at least able to get to that 6th round. Like I said, I was pretty clearly impressed by them at a few times here and there, but this is still such a difficult road to walk back on. On the bright side, though, now you're on the terrorist side, so when that entire idea of, hey, we'll try things one by one comes in, that's much more effective here than otherwise. The one by one thing on the T side, you've got a few set strats, you can get out a couple of rounds. If you can try and make sure that they're put down, things are very doable. Going into the second half, though, pistol round is going to be so pivotal. Tikitakan, all that individual skill that we've seen showcase, it needs to come through over here. They have been whiffing a few shots, and that isn't really a possibility when you're down 69 going into the second half. The first half is much more forgiving in that matter. You know you're going to have a second chance moving forward. All you need is 6 rounds at any given point. At least that's what it seems like in modern day Counter-Strike. But when you've got D side in your second half, you can try and reset the CT economy. You just need to get a couple of rounds in a row to equalize things. Much more doable, but you want that pistol.
It'll come down to the pistol round, though, because if Tikitakan lose this, alternate attacks putting themselves in a very good spot, potentially bring it to 12 rounds straight off the bat. And when you're playing against alternate attacks, you know how good their CT sides can be. At times, we even compared it to an impenetrable wall because of how good they can be at denying any early information, at denying any access to the bomb site. And because of how good their anchors are, because of how individually skilled they are, you find teams getting so much map control and still being shut down when they finally get down to those aim duels. That being said, the pause is over, and we'll be moving to the pistol round immediately. Tikitakan, though, they have 4 sets of Kevlar.
Those 4 sets of Kevlar are not what I'm concerned with. I'm concerned with where that smoke and the flashbang goes. There is Spinks who's lurking over towards the B-bomb site. He's not going to be making any moves soon. He's not even trying to distract them. Seems like he just wants to get a flank in when the rotations are coming through. But once he's got that control and he's maintained it, it's actually Tikitakan who force back alternate attacks and are going to be heading in towards that B bomb site. Aben taking point but can't find the kill initially. Stefan's been given a chance to play around the pillar, but Merbit's already down. Spings to take him apart, and Stefan trying but failing to get kills. It's a 5 versus 3, but it's very quickly brought back to a 4v3 as Cressy gets the one. Spings trades away immediately, and Slacks is left very lonely and very dead.
Tikitakan winning that pistol round was absolutely essential. So at the very least, they've gotten their foot through the door. Now, if I'm alternate attacks, I'm still not feeling too much pressure. But once that equalizer pulls through, once you see the 9-9 pop up on the scoreboard, that's when you start getting worried, because the CT side economy, it's so fragile. At any point in time, you can let go of those rounds, even if you've been winning so far.
Well, oh, actually Redstar managed to catch off Slacks. I was about to say that Slacks can be very deadly even on force fire rounds. But unfortunately for him, doesn't really pan through. And already you see alternate attacks trying to... I would really like to see them actually cluster around a particular bomb site where they can make sure that, hey, at the very least, we've got 4 deagles on a site. If they hit it, maybe we get lucky. If they don't hit it, it's okay. We try again next round. At least we save 4 deagles moving forward. And right now, it seems like that luck might be coming in, but luck is not all you need. Skill is also required, and Skrunk doesn't quite match up to Jer, who just comes out, peeks through, AK-47, one taps for days, and that's what you like to see. Nade flies in. But Cressy being forced off. Tikitakan being very thorough with clearing out all the angles. Stefan also needs to be in that list, though, and he is going to fall. We know his deagle can be miraculous. We know his deagle can be magical, but not coming in just quite yet. Alternate attacks are going to be having this round slip away from them. But at the same time, if they're looking at a 9-9, Tikitakan shouldn't be able to get out the lead too easily. An AWP will be in the cards potentially later on as well, even though Slacks did buy up here, which always puts that up for debate. Merbit hoping to find at least a kill here or there, but he himself will not be given anything. Tikitakan, I love this discipline from them. They're not hunting at all. Alternate attacks ready to give away an eco round. Merbit has a deagle, which is the only real chance, but this is where Tikitakan 1% red star forward. Make sure he can get as many kills with the Mac 10 as possible. Buff up your economy and be ready for alternate attacks to get at least one round here or there. Now, where we saw Tikitakan trying a lot of things and getting very aggressive, we could see the exact opposite actually coming through from the German side, because as much as on a map like Vertigo, which they are very, very comfortable on, Attax can have a CT side that just looks like they know everything that's going on. Overpass is a respectable map for them, but you don't exactly just see the same thing coming out for them over there. There's a reason why, you know, Dust 2 and Inferno are still significantly above over there. They have their moments, they have their time when they can demolish someone, but, you know, recently saw them losing out to Fate, who themselves is also a very good Overpass team. You know, they have had quite a few incredibly close games, and that's where they come into question. Cressy, however, initially does take down that Mac 10, so he'll prevent too much bonus money being taken away. Jer, comfortable as always, just making sure that anyone who's walking into his crosshair will just go down. But Merbit has actually found another one. However, it is still the cleanup at the end of the day from alternate attacks. 9-9 will be coming in. Now, though, comes the AWP of Slacks, where I put a question mark about whether or not it would be there. There can be no question marks around it anymore. You're 9-12 right now. It's not been a great first half for you, and although Attax did win out that first half, it was largely on the back of a few other players' efforts and being able to clean them up. Slacks, largely quite quiet as we know him to be on that T side. He's very similar to XC Power that way. But I want to see more from him. This is a stage where there's a lot of ground being gained. Spinks has taken control of a shot, and you can see they're completely ready to go for a silent pincer, but they've been spotted out now. There will be a Molotov flying in. They don't know how many players there are, however. Spinks will have flames already taking down Stefan, who tried to get a little bit of action towards Monster Tunnel, but he bit off more than he could chew. A minute left on the clock, and still very much the options are open for the side of Tikitakan to go anywhere they want to. They're trying to make sure that Attax will turtle up and try and get aggressive, get some information to bait out rotations, or bring out rotations, rather. But so far, that is not the case. They're sticking to the 202. Cressy is in position to be able to try and change things around. But there is no op here. Skrunk looking to peek out soon. A flashbang comes in. He's not completely able to match the spray, and he goes down because of it. I thought for a second he might end up being blinded himself, which he was for a little while. But it's still not enough. 4 versus 2. Cressy and Slacks have got to save. And alternate attacks already, you can see them potentially getting stuck in that loop where, you know, slowly but surely, you will have them fall down to the abyss. At the end of the day, Tikitakan, really nicely played from them. You could see that they're working off of Spinks' position so well, because although Spinks has a player in the background, he's just playing anti-flash and staying back, so that in case there's a push coming in towards short, he can at least help out Spinks. But Spinks' purpose is to seem like he's a random lurker, trying to get a pick, trying to get information, trying to get something. And because there's only one person being shown, Stefan feels like he has the ability and he has the space to maybe get some action into Monster. When Stefan goes down after that, you see the reset come through, so Slacks again can't get involved. Slacks was still posted up outside the toilets because he just couldn't feel comfortable rotating. Now, we need to see Slacks and Cressy chime in again. Tikitakan are very much taking control of this, and this is looking scary if you're an Attax fan. Initial kill comes out, though. It's Cressy to take down Spinks. That's a good start for things. He is able to get it off the back of a nice triple boost, but Tikitakan get a lot of information from that as well, and you can see how aggressive they're getting ready to get. Skrunk on the Deagle and Kevlar can be very difficult to deal with, though, and Red Star's made a lot of noise, but that noise will also be followed by a screaming Skrunk as it goes down to the AWP. The T's are clustered into banana, which leaves them susceptible to flashes. Unfortunately, there are none on the CT side. To Cressy, as much as he would have liked to have Slacks just chuck one over, spend $200 for him to get a bit more, he will have to do this the old-fashioned way. No utility, just the gun, just the weaponry. But can he find the timing? Slacks is giving him some cover. The gun is not pulled out by Jer until it's a bit late, and Cressy is able to get one because of it. Slacks, 1 versus 3 as they're coming in, but he's got Murbit coming in from the side who'd recovered the AK, and Jer's left in a 1v2. Despite a good start, he will be brought down. Stefan's missing all his shots, but he manages to get one at the end.
Good stuff from him. And now the scoreline is tied up. And, ooh. I like this from alternate attacks, though. Double op setup. You've seen how crazy Slacks can be with the op once he gets into that turret mode. And I'm just waiting to see what happens when you have an insane anchor like Stefan on that as well. A Red Star. A big ask from him, though, to have to challenge these 2 AWPs on the other end. Tikitakan quickly taking mid control, but Jer will already fall through the wall. That plank being ever so dangerous, and Skrunk has the perfect lineup to shut them down before they move in. Even though immediately eliminated, and that's the duo of Stefan and Slacks pulling through. Red Star left alone with that AWP, feeling lonely as ever.
We all do sometimes.
And that's okay, because Cressy is there to cuddle him with a quick bullet to the head. Not sure that's
I
how
don't want to
cuddles
go.
work.
I always knew I didn't want to get into bed with you, but I definitely don't anymore.
Yeah, I just imagine that we're lying next to each other, and I just pull out a Glock like, wait, this is how it's done, right?
Well, Tikitakan has been showing us how it's done for a while, but Ultimate Attax with those 2 rounds strung together, it is telling that the one round where Attax wins and brings it back is off the back of just 2 weapons save moving forward. So that could be the difference maker for the CT side. However, Tikitakan ready to put in at least a bit of money into this one.
The problem over here is, though, you almost never see the T side strapped for cash like they are at the moment. And being on those Tech 9s, they're sort of giving a lot of breathing room for Alternate Attacks to work off of. And look at the economy, too, on Alternate. Having won all of these clean rounds, that means they have around $4,000 apiece. But as I say that, Stefan, he's single-handedly manhandling these 3 players that move up short. Stefan still trying to go crazy with the deagle, but I mean, what more can you ask for? Skrunk there to pick up the pieces, and it'll be Cressy, actually, that ends up chiming in. Look at Stefan, though, man. He is the anchor. Like, he is the premier anchor. That's a guy I want on my team.
I mean, I don't mind all of the Ultimate Attax players on my team.
Yeah, let's be honest.
You know, even all of Tikitakan. Anyone who's in the server, I'm happy with that. Yeah. But yeah, you're right, Stefan. Look at that coming through. Gorgeous stuff from him, just making sure that the Tech 9 buy is rendered completely ineffective. They do have a buy afterwards, though, so still always something to keep in mind. But Tikitakan, now they'll be going. See, the problem with how Tikitakan's playing this default out, and they have done this a few times, is there's literally no presence in connector or in B. They're just focusing on long and taking toilets control from it. So Slacks, he has the information. He just backs off. He knows, hey, we don't see anyone in front of Monster, and we don't hear anyone in connector. Buddy, you want to back off there?
Oh, Slacks' position is going to be pivotal here, though. Flashbang. Ooh.
Right,
Not sure Slacks is spotted him there. Doesn't connect the kill. And Slacks will fall to the AK. Little unfortunate to see, because you generally hit him see him hitting all of those shots, but the CT's on the disadvantage now. The one up close and personal defense that they do have is towards Toilets, and I'm surprised he hasn't shown his position yet. But that will work out in his favor because he's good for 1. Cressy, though, still holding on to the bomb site all alone. Picks up a second, and there's Red Star coming in from long.
Oh, Red Star probably looking to get aggressive over the back of that flashbang. Almost takes down Cressy, but Stefan on the side will be happy to give the alley-oop a little tap. Throw that ball into the rim, take it down. And now it is still... I mean, this is still going to be very, very doable for Tikitakan, but you're going into territory where it's easier for Attax to get the 15 than not at this point. A 14-10 will give them one last gun round for Tikitakan to bring things back. The problem for me is how much money Slacks has. So maybe it's not going to be as easy as I'm painting it out, but Attax have actually managed to do the impossible. Because they won that round with 2 weapons saved and the rest of their players being on an eco, they actually have an economy.
Yeah, you never see that coming out from the CT side. On the other hand, though, look at Tikitakan. Man, you really have to feel for them here because they're on Deagles, cash-strapped again. Somehow, the roles reverse for the CT and T side. They're gonna have to pull up big with these Deagles, though, because breathing room is running out. Let's see.
Oh, nice shot from Skrunk comes out there. Quick tap, and he's followed up as well. Sure, it's only anti-deagles, but listen. Kills are kills, and those are sexy ones.
At this point, it's just a firing range for alternate attacks. I mean, look at that play from Skrunk. He's just running around, running and gunning.
Tapping away like it's nothing else. It's a fun time for them, but the fun times are going to end. It is Tikitakan bringing out the full buy, bringing out all the guns and the grenades. This time, a bit more presence towards B as well.
Alternate attacks, though, you know how their CT side can be. They're going to get a little bit more aggressive here. With the AWP and a player playing towards long. See if this works out for them. Tikitakan, though, very reserved about going towards A this time around. A couple flashbangs being popped, but most of their attention will be towards B and connector. With the bomb being dropped. Oh, yeah. I don't think they're going to expect this. Because alternate attacks previously hasn't had too much attention towards short. They've played off of that boost. They've played off of Skrunk's wallbang, surprisingly. But no direct interaction over here. So Mervin should be able to get some information. But with the bomb being dropped to the hands of Stefan, that means that they have all the information that they need about the positioning of the T side. Aben moves in, and he will get the equalizer immediately, but Murbit, he hasn't had a single point of contact just yet. Skrunk, Molotov to deny the bomb plant, and now the retake should be pulling through as the bomb starts to go down.
Murbit doesn't really have a Molotov or anything of the sort to deny the bomb plant either, so these CTs who are so far away won't be able to help him contest at all. Murbit peeks out, sees a player, but that's just his own information given away. And with it, they're also aware of the player coming from Monster. Skrunk is the one who needs to make a move, but even that move is just him falling down dead to right. Murbit now moving forward with Cressy, trying to bring things together. Cressy to find one, Cressy to move in, but the second again, it's Spinks to take him down. 2 kills for him, and even Aben, who was on 12 HP for the majority of that round, is able to get 2 of his own. So great stuff from Tikitakan, despite the information being given away early, like you said.
A little surprising that Murbit didn't reposition himself, because he was expecting all of those players to come in from short. But after Stefan had already seen 4 of them on Monster, at that point, if I'm Murbit, I'm starting to think that maybe it's about time to set up a crossfire here. Slacks, though, getting very up close with the AWP, tries to go for a bit of a pot shot, but that does not connect, and we've seen this time and time again coming through from Slacks. Luckily for him, though, the teammates are there to pick up the pieces when he does falter. Spinks already with the entry on Murbit that allows Tikitakan to, at the very least, get their foot through the door, and not only will they get their foot through the door, he will have his foot in the mouth of Skrunk. Gets 2 kills. And that's a great advantage for Tikitakan. Restar, though, his positioning is perfect because he's come around the corner, but Cressy, he is not taking any of that as he takes down 2 as he falls. Slacks, though, 1 versus 2. Huge job to do. And with the AWP, the question is he going to save? And I bet not, because he has all the money he could possibly need. 36 and 34 points of health. He could even snip this away with a pistol. But he has 2 angles to deal with here.
This is going to be so difficult, and although he does have a lot of money, you don't know how long that's going to be the case. Of Slacks in the back of his head, he knows if they lose this round and another one, then maybe money's not too pretty. And he wants things to be pretty. That's what Slacks likes. And he will back off. There's nothing to be done here. He's not going for the defuse. They know it. They can just back off on the T side as well. Slacks, who was trying to bait them into dying, will not be able to do even that. So T side, off the back of some great entries, and Spinks finding 3 kills, they're up to 12. Alternate attacks still not out of it yet, but you could see them having their money start to be messed with. 1 more round from Tikitakan might just do it. Slacks will have a buy regardless, but I don't know, man. CT side, you always know how that money goes.
They somehow still have 8k on Slacks, which is very surprising, especially considering the fact that he's the AWP player. He spots ahead, still playing very aggressive, but those flashbangs will eventually put him out of his position. Tikitakan, they have quite a bit of map control here towards short and towards B. They're slowly inching their way in, but with Stefan around the corner. You never know what to expect. The utility rolls out. He
Oh.
swings out, connects the headshot on 2, but he's not able to close out the kills. Now Skrunk is left all alone over here as he waits for his teammates to chime in. The nade will get a kill, and he will get a second one as well. Tries to maneuver around, but Water can only last so long because he does not have any space to run to. Cressy and Slacks now potentially going in for the retake, and the only saving grace being that Jur is on 21 HP.
This explosive style of play onto the B bomb site is serving Tikitakan really well, but now you start to question how long it'll last, because they've done this a few rounds in a row, and you kind of want to see something different, but it's also the only thing that has found them too much success so far. Attax, maybe you just want to see Slacks go over towards that B bomb site early, try and get a pick, you know, try and get aggressive towards short. If you can get a nice Molotov in, if you can get a quick flashbang over to delay the T-side push, you can actually have them posted over towards the gutters very quickly. So you never know what will come through from them. There is a quick casualty coming out from the T side, but CTs will be able to buy still because of those 2 players kept alive and because Slacks is literally just made of money at this point. Not made of kills, though. You can see.
I don't understand how, though. I mean, he's on.
He's been saving
kills,
constantly, man. He's been saving so often. Like, you can see he's 11-14. The rest of his team are all like 16 and more, except for Cressy, who also saved a few rounds.
Off of the back of Slacks, though, they've been able to pull up such a good economy because they never have to worry about that AWP not being in their hands. At the same time, though, Slacks hasn't quite been showing up with it, which is always going to be problematic because they aren't able to get early information, they aren't able to get early map control, and this is sort of where alternate attacks are starting to falter. You said that one of their weaknesses was to turtle up against many teams, and I'm surprised that Tikitakan is one of them because they do seem like they're feeling the pressure.
Yeah, Tikitakan reminding us today, it might be the first time we're ever playing Overpass on HLTV, but we know what we're doing, at least to some extent. They did have their moments and hiccups on their CT side, but even so. Inside short water. He is.
Oh, there is about to be a duel, Marbot and Stefan. That molly actually worked. Did it go through the smoke or did it just extinguish? Okay,
no,
there we
it went
go.
through the smoke, it's true, and there's 35 seconds on the clock, so things will be really risky for them.
Stefan's position is perfect, but they're making their way towards short now, and with only 25 seconds, they need to do something fast. Binks goes for the spray towards water, hasn't connected anything because he tried to go for the wall bang, and now they're pushing through. They flow right in, and they get all the entries they could possibly need. Bomb somehow comfortably goes down. There's still 10 seconds on the clock, and that is so surprising because alternate attacks, they were ready for that. They had the information. The bomb did not have enough time to get planted, but they still weren't able to deny it, and Slacks left alone yet again. It seems as if I keep finding myself spectating him on the short end of the stick where he's just stuck alone with the AWP.
You know how I said that maybe Attax just put Slacks on the B site because Tikitakan have literally only found success towards B? I lied. But very well played coming up from Tikitakan over there. Red Star finding the early entry frag, the trade frag really, to be able to bring things back was pivotal. After that, sure, Jur and Flames, they're the ones who clean things up, but that first kill though, going the way of Red Star is huge. Skrunk falling made it so there was no one in water, and you have so much more work that you can get done. And in a 14-14, Slacks, you can save all you want, but if you guys lose this round, money is going to be difficult to come by. So you'll see alternate attacks ready to save, and you'll see them being hesitant to aggress. I say that, but they are at least getting aggressive down towards connector. However, no one to be found.
Yeah, alternate attacks, they need to get a little more aggressive because passivity is not something that has been working out for them. Tikitakan, though, on the other hand, they're making their way all the way towards the long. And because of how quickly they're going, I think the audio information has already been conveyed. Slacks goes for pot shot, immediately gets punished, and those are the shots that you do not want to be missing. Flashbang rolls out, but Chrissy, flashing himself, I believe, is not able to pick up the kill. 3 on 5. The retake again and again. Alternate attacks off of these misses by Slacks. Just he doesn't seem to be catching a break, and unfortunately, I never put too much blame on a player, but it seems like he keeps finding himself in the position where he isn't really able to help the team.
Yeah, it is. It's not looking good. He's isolating these views so well and all. Run through it, and they'll be having a very quick run. We need to blame someone on alternate attacks for not reading this properly, where you'd expect them to put him on B at least once. You know, or at least on Heaven, where he can rotate back towards A, but that's simply not the case. Now, however, with the M4A4, maybe we can see them getting more involved with that. Spray coming out. Stefan not finding too much damage in there, but at least he does tickle Spinks, even if he does give away his information. It's always nice to tickle your friends. Tickle.
No, thank you.
Oh, well.
I'm in the middle of a cast right now. Spinks, though, has he given up the audio there? Not 100% sure, but the boost will still be there to clear short for the most part. The problem, though, is I think Spinks might have moved in while they were ducking. This could be huge for him. Meanwhile, though, Bomb's still looking very indecisive because it's towards mid, and the Tikitakan players, they're just trying to find some information, which alternate attacks, quite frankly, they haven't given up any of it, which might not be the best of plays considering the fact that there hasn't been any aggression, any true aggression coming out from alternate attacks until it's been too late. The passivity really coming to bite them. In the face, what could have been a relatively easy game had they had some of their shots lined up, had some of the aggression worked out for them, if it had been applied to begin with. Spinks, though, moving up short. The info has been thrown away after such a valiant effort of ducking all the way through short.
Still, though, alternate attacks with a 2v3, they only have 2 nades to really work with. The flashbang can't go a long way. And look at Tikitakan's position. They have to take the engages. Jer has showed himself off, and now comes out the flashback. Will they be peeking it out? Stefan's sticking it. Stefan's got the job done, and there you have it. Overtime. Despite what was a 1 round, Stefan is given so much cover from Merbit, man.
Merbit and Stefan really stepping it up when their team needed it the most, despite those clean entries. Somehow pulled through. off of a ninja defuse and some cover. 15 to 15 now, though. Slacks back on the AWP because he has all the money in the world now, and saving should be out of the question for the most part. A double op setup, actually, and this is something that I don't particularly like because of how good Stefan is at getting those multi-kills when he has the AK or when he has the M4 in his hands. And the op sort of, if you're anchoring a bomb site, the op can often put you in a one and done spot when the rush comes through, because you can often only get one shot off and then you're done for.
Oh, wait do I hear these? Right, so you aren't wrong.
Smoke is blooming. He might have been able to catch flames, but that's a solid one-way smoke for Cressy. Question remains, are they going to walk into his crosshairs anytime soon, though? With Spink so low on HP, he has been past the AWP.
Oh, Cressy inching in, but he knows there's nades flying overhead, and a flash trying to dodge Cressy. Then, but Skrunk is the one peeking in to his own death. Sure, finding the 2 necessary kills, and Stefan, they may be very low, but you have an AWP, my friend.
Already picked up the first, though. That just leaves 2 players that have so little HP to work off of. This could actually be doable. He doesn't have information, though, but even a wallbang could work at this point. He catches a player that's going towards long. There's just 1 player left, and he has a Molotov, so he only has to worry about 1 position. Comes out right around, and somehow in a 1 versus 3 is able to pick up 3 off of the back of an AWP. How do you pull that off, man? And on the flip side, how do Tikitakan give that up? Stefan, time and time again, bringing it back for his team.
It's also 2 rounds in a row where...
And he destroys.
He does really well, but I don't know, man. I don't understand why you'd be peeking in when you've got 2 ops and you know that if he has a smoke, even if he doesn't kill you, with 2 ops, you're not going to be able to spam the smoke. That's the unfortunate reality of it.
I was very impressed by how he chased the player down on long, as if he was the hunter, as if he was the one that had the bomb down.
CT simulator activated. Tikitakan. They did have a fantastic comeback to get them to 15, but comebacks need to go all the way, otherwise they are written down in history as an L. And that is all that matters at the end of the day. All will be forgiven if the W is acquired, unless you are my teammate, in which case I am deeply sorry for the emotional trauma that you will experience if you lose a 3v1 like that.
I can relate.
Yeah.
The joys of getting yelled at from the bottom of the scoreboard.
Indeed. I mean, I know you can't hear me up there, but still.
Just a buzzing noise, but
yeah.
Red Star, though. He's gotten a bit of a tickle of his own. 47 points of health on him. Some early... 47 points of health on him. Some early damage being done.
I don't think that's how tickles work. It's a tickle that you're looking for, but Spinks is turning them into spickles as well. Merbit is shedding a lot of blood over there. He's drying them out, getting ready to preserve them in a jar.
Ooh, could this boost work out for them? I really like the pathing here because Spinks never exposes himself to the boost. He's right under it, to the point where they don't have the opportunity to exploit that boost. That being said, already making their way towards shore. Stefan gets a little bit aggressive, and that's the aggression that they needed. Coming around short, Spinks immediately gets punished by Stefan, and the flashbang will roll out as well. He keeps going for these peaks. Been so good with the AWP and at opening up all these opportunities, but this time around the flashbang will prove to be too powerful, even for the eyes of Stefan.
Line speaking in, Molotov in his hand, but it does go over towards water instead. If it had been a molly in Toxic, Murbit would have been dead to rights, but they think it's already cleared. Murbit can just peek up and take them down whenever he wants, and No.
Someone just threw a nade there, and they bounced it off of the pillar by accident, and that could have actually killed Murbit by accident, because he was in barrels. He was in barrels.
One thing to very quickly note, Stefan has now found more kills with the AWP than Slacks has in the past, I don't know, 8 rounds or something in 1 round.
Yeah, that is definitely troubling when your primary opper isn't quite able to hit his shots, but that's what teammates are for. Sometimes you need somebody to pick up the slacks. Sorry, bad joke.
Stefan is now down, and Murbit on the back line trying to assist, but it's Skronk to come through. Unfortunately, the trade is there. Murbit's blinded up as well. Brilliant timing on the flashbang, but Murbit, who's now got a smoke down in water, is trying to work around with it. But unfortunately for him, he doesn't realize he's set up the perfect wall for them to have Red Star work that AWP. Flames playing around the corner. He's been so good on these entries, and he has looked and found Murbit as well. A 16th round for Tikitakan, and Flames has been performing lights out. Spinks, you know what? He's had his moments. He's been very good. 25 and 23. That's amazing. Flames on the entry frag on the T side has been untouchable. He gets multi kills for days. For days. Those 24 kills, at least, I think at least 12 of them must have been entries, which is insane.
A 30 bomb now. I think that's Cressy and Stefan. It is overtime though. Sometimes it can be a little bit expected, but at the same time, man, I'm a little surprised that they're able to pick up the pieces despite Slack's lackluster performance. Especially when Tikitakan was granted so much room into these bomb sites. Off of these clutches, somehow alternate attacks still a fighting force to be reckoned with.
Hey, Ben. Has Skronk walk into his crosshairs. That's always a nice way to get a quick one, but they have to make sure that their efforts will find them more than they did in regulation. The triple AWP was never something they had featured, but maybe they should have. Red Star comes out with that second kill. Aben's already found himself one of his own, and Aben is hunting for even more. His positioning is great. He has a chance to take them down, but he backs off a bit too early. 50 seconds on the clock, and he wants to be more defensive.
I'm a little surprised they made this triple op work. Bringing it back to your theory, though, 3 ops, the best amount of ops that you can have, the optimal amount. And they've already put 2 to good use. Red Star and Aben, 2 apiece. Spinks, yet to get a kill with his Green Goblin. But there it is, Tikitakan with the equalizer.
Can I just clarify? 3 ops is only the best case across the server. I don't want there to be I'm not necessarily saying 3 ops on one team is the best case, but in that case, you saw that there were 4 ops on the server, and Slacks didn't really do much with his. So you know, you see where I'm going with this. And I mean, admittedly, Spinks didn't either, but maybe you just go with 2 in that case. I'm fine with it. Interesting positioning, though. You very rarely see 2 ops being placed onto the same bomb site. So Aben and Red Star being that close together might have actually thrown alternate attacks into a loop. So they're not prepared for Flames. Is good for 1. Spinks on the other side pulls out that AWP. They were not thinking that there would be one here, and Red Star, ever present, ever ready, the guardian of the site, will find another. And although Slacks come through with one of his rare kills in this game so far, he will be forced off the angle. He will be forced back off. This is where we need him to step up and show us what he's made of. He is such a fantastic opper, but he hasn't been having the greatest of games, and what better time you possibly have to have him step up. And in a 1 versus 3, unfortunately, it is not meant to be. And in 18-17, Tikitakan are once again at map point.
Somehow, despite all of those clutches being pulled out by alternate attacks, Tikitakan yet again pulling through and making a really good case for the first map win. This is looking super scary for alternate attacks because they don't seem to have a great answer to whatever Tikitakan comes up with. Yes, they've pulled it so close, and yes, they have had answers in the form of individual plays, but it doesn't seem like they have as strong of a hold on Tikitakan as you'd expect from a team like alternate attacks. Spinks, though, they know he's on that boost. He's already taken quite a bit of damage, and so much map control towards B has been given up as alternate attacks take storm towards short. And Tikitakan huddling up just a little bit. Alternate, though, they cannot afford to make a mistake. This is the map on the line.
Well, we realize where Aben is, but Aben doesn't manage to find that shot. However, a lot of information has also been given away to the CT side. They're well aware of the positioning from some of these players playing towards Connector. Flames has found out all, especially with that squeaky door being closed. Smokes going out from the CT side will ensure that should attacks want to jump in, Spinks has a lot more room to try and work around with, and that's such a great kill to find. Red Star through the wall, takes down Cressy, already a 5 versus 4, Steppen and Spinks moving in, trying to combat, but Spinks comes out on top, leaving Murbet to try and trade. A 3v3 quickly turned in the favor of the CTs, as it's a 4v2 rather, not a 3v3. Bomb,
Red Star. He's been so good with the AWP, but Slacks finally starts to show up. Jur to fall. Slacks, can he bring this 1v3 to life? But he will not. Tikitakan somehow taking the map win away after it was stolen from them by Stefan's Ninja Defuse.
And that's that. Tikitakan want to be going into their next map. That's Mirage. That's their old map pick. Heads held up high, knowing that they have taken alternate attacks to the distance and beyond. Now, the question is, can they do the same on Mirage? We'll be back in just a bit to find out that answer.